Thinking, fast and slow, Daniel Kahneman, you're sitting in a coffee shop when someone approaches your table and asks, "A bat and a ball cost $1, 10 in total. The bat costs $1, 0 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?" Without hesitation, the answer, 10 cents, springs to mind. It feels obvious, immediate, perfectly clear. Yet this instant certainty masks something profound about how your mind works, and how often that very quickness leads you astray. The correct answer is 5 cents, a truth that emerges only when you slow down enough to think it through. But why does your mind leap so confidently to the wrong conclusion? Daniel Kahneman's groundbreaking work reveals that your mind operates through two distinct systems, one that races ahead with intuitive answers, and another that carefully deliberates when called upon. This isn't merely an academic curiosity about mental processes. In a world where split-second decisions shape everything from financial markets to personal relationships, understanding these two modes of thinking becomes essential to navigating the complexity of modern life. How often do you trust the first thought that arrives, and when might that trust be misplaced? Your mind, Kahneman discovered, houses two systems that work in fundamentally different ways. System 1 operates like a stream flowing effortlessly downhill, fast, automatic, and intuitive. It's the system that recognizes your friend's face in a crowd, finishes familiar phrases, and reacts with immediate emotion to surprising news. System 1 works tirelessly in the background, generating impressions and feelings that often become the source of your explicit beliefs and deliberate choices. System 2, by contrast, requires effort and attention. It's the mental faculty you engage when calculating a complex math problem, learning to drive, or carefully weighing the pros and cons of a major decision. System 2 is slower, more deliberate, and operates within the spotlight of your conscious awareness. Yet here lies a crucial insight. System 2 is also lazy. It prefers to coast along, accepting the quick judgments that System 1 provides, intervening only when absolutely necessary or when the stakes feel particularly high. This division illuminates why you answered 10 cents so readily. System 1 saw a simple pattern, $1. 10 total, $1. 0 difference, and filled in what seemed obvious. System 2, in its habitual laziness, didn't bother to check the math. Only deliberate engagement reveals that if the ball costs 5 cents and the bat costs $1, 5, the bat indeed costs $1, 0 more than the ball, and together they total $1. 10. Your initial confidence wasn't malicious or stupid. It was simply System 1 doing what it does best, providing quick, plausible answers based on familiar patterns. The interplay between these systems shapes far more than puzzle solving. Consider how you judge people you meet. Within milliseconds, System 1 forms impressions based on appearance, voice, or mannerisms, creating what feels like immediate knowledge about someone's competence, trustworthiness, or intelligence. These snap judgments often prove remarkably persistent, influencing your behavior long after you should know better. System 2 might later encounter contradictory evidence, but the initial impression created by System 1 continues to echo, subtly shaping your interactions. This phenomenon extends into the realm of memory and decision-making in ways that profoundly affect your sense of satisfaction and well-being. Kahneman discovered that you essentially have two selves, an experiencing self that lives moment by moment, and a remembering self that tells the story of your life. These selves often disagree about what constitutes a good experience. Your experiencing self might enjoy a long, pleasant vacation, but your remembering self judges the entire trip based primarily on its peak moment and its ending, a tendency called the peak-end rule. This creates a fascinating paradox. You make most decisions based on what your remembering self predicts will bring satisfaction, yet your remembering self systematically distorts your actual lived experience. A week-long vacation might provide more total enjoyment than a weekend getaway. But if the longer trip ends poorly, a missed flight, a disappointing final meal, your memory may rate the shorter trip as superior. You're planning future experiences based on a narrator who edits your story in ways that don't always serve your actual happiness. The implications ripple out into how you think about success, relationships, and life satisfaction itself. Your System 1 creates compelling narratives about what will make you happy: the promotion, the house, the relationship status. Yet research consistently shows that you're remarkably bad at predicting what will actually satisfy you. You overestimate how much external changes will affect your well-being, and you underestimate how quickly you'll adapt to new circumstances, returning to something close to your baseline happiness. In our hyperconnected age, these insights take on particular urgency. Social media feeds your System 1 a constant stream of quick judgments and emotional reactions. Your brain, evolved for simpler environments, treats every piece of information as potentially vital, every social comparison as relevant to your status, every headline as worthy of immediate emotional investment. System 2, already prone to laziness, becomes overwhelmed by the sheer volume of input, allowing System 1's fast judgments to guide more and more of your mental life. The economic implications prove equally profound. Markets, supposedly rational aggregations of informed decisions, reveal themselves to be collective expressions of System 1 biases, waves of overconfidence, panic, and herd behavior. Your financial decisions, from daily purchases to major investments, often reflect the same quick judgments that led you astray with the bat and ball problem. You anchor on irrelevant numbers, overweight recent experiences, and construct coherent stories from incomplete information. Yet awareness itself becomes a form of liberation. When you understand that your first instinct might be System 1's quick approximation rather than careful analysis, you can learn to pause. When you recognize that your confidence often exceeds your competence, you can seek outside perspectives. When you realize that your memory edits your experiences, you can pay closer attention to your moment-to-moment well-being rather than just the story you'll tell later. The key insight you can carry forward is this: your mind's quickness is both a remarkable gift and a potential liability. System 1's rapid judgments enable you to navigate a complex world with extraordinary efficiency, but they also create systematic blind spots that affect your most important decisions. Learning to recognize when slow, deliberate thinking might serve you better isn't about distrusting your intuition. It's about understanding when that intuition reflects genuine wisdom, and when it might reflect the beautiful, fallible shortcuts of a mind doing its best in an overwhelmingly complex world. As you move through your days ahead, consider this lingering question. In a culture that rewards quick decisions and confident opinions, how might you create space for the slower, more uncertain, but potentially wiser voice of deliberate thought? Tonight, as you settle into rest, let yourself appreciate the elegant complexity of your own mind, how it races and pauses, leaps and considers, creates stories and questions them. Your consciousness emerges from this dance between quickness and depth, between the stream that flows and the careful gardener who tends what grows beside it. In understanding both, you find not a flaw to fix, but a humanity to embrace with clearer eyes.